Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
It's a great day. I'm Mark Imperial. In this episode, we'll meet Ferne Kornfeld. Ferne is president and co-founder of First Financial Tax Group, a retirement planning firm in Boca Raton, Florida. In addition to running her business and advising her clients, she also teaches conservative retirement income planning classes at a local university and is a board member for the Women's Executive Club of South Palm Beach County, a group that highlights and participates in giving back to the community. Ferne, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mark. I'm happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about First Financial Tax Group and the type of clients that you serve.
Well, Mark, First Financial Tax Group specializes in working with people age 55 and older to help them plan for a more secure retirement. Our clients are more interested in the return of their money than the return on their money, and that's where we focus our efforts. We also have a bit of a unique approach here at First Financial Tax Group.
Can you tell us more about that?
Sure, Mark. You know, oftentimes people can have a very scattered approach to their finances, meaning that they have accounts spread out at various institutions with different people looking out for that particular slice of their portfolio. It's a very uncoordinated approach. For example, they may have an accountant advising them about their taxes, maybe one or two financial advisors giving them advice piecemeal, and possibly an attorney drawing up legal documents having to do with their finances. But who is quarterbacking everything to make sure that all of these pieces work together in the most effective way to benefit them and their retirement? At First Financial Tax Group, we offer a different, more coordinated approach. For example, many people wouldn't think to discuss their legal documents or lack thereof with their financial advisor. But really, your legal status has a lot to do with your finances. And while we aren't attorneys ourselves, we are the ones who often see the negative impact of people not having the proper legal documents as they relate to one's finances and health care. For that reason, we work with a number of local attorneys in both Palm Beach County and Broward County who specialize in the areas that are critical to our older clientele. Documents like wills, trusts, and various powers of attorney. We try to pair our clients with an attorney best suited to their situation and personality to make sure that they have the best fit possible. We've seen too many difficult situations made even more difficult by the family not having the legal documents needed to deal with what's going on. We work to avoid those situations for our clients by taking care of the need for legal documents before that need exists. Another way that we coordinate our approach is to look at a client's tax situation. We found that many of our clients are really overpaying for their tax preparation services each year. So we offer our clients tax prep services for the reduced price of only $69 complete. We have an in-house accountant whose specialty is tax preparation, who works with any of our clients who want to take advantage of the opportunity. So instead of paying anywhere from $200, $300, even $500 or more to get their tax returns prepared, we charge them only $69. So right off the bat, we're saving them money, but importantly, they're getting a very competent tax accountant who's also licensed to represent them in any IRS situation should the need arise.
So Ferne, why is this tax perspective particularly important?
This additional broader perspective of the client's tax picture really benefits the client because it gives us the ability to see the client's bigger picture so that we can make retirement recommendations that are as tax efficient as possible. And Mark, we're able to do this while still addressing their safety requirements and maximizing their yield.
And how do you do that in our current environment, provide safety and yield?
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
So many people we see these days have been reaching for yield, which really is just a fancy term meaning that they're buying all things that pay income. And in doing so, many feel that they've taken on too much risk to get that yield. They know it, and they're not comfortable with it, but they feel they have little or no alternative. That simply isn't true. There are alternatives. They just aren't exposed to them by traditional Wall Street because traditional Wall Street is all about the risk markets and about putting one's capital at risk all the time. But what about alternative asset class strategies where you don't have to take stock market risk all the time? Wouldn't that be nice, especially as we age? The opportunities are out there for clients to use these strategies to get higher yields from products that are simpler and safer and also more secured than what most are doing with their portfolios right now. Let's take just one example of what I'm talking about, Mark. First position commercial mortgage notes, or FPCMs as we call them. These notes pay a fixed yield of 6%, and the term is just 1 year. What's the bank paying these days, Mark? 1% maybe if we want to be generous?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, interest is paid out monthly from these FPCMs. So these are fixed income vehicles as well because the yield is fixed for the 1 year term. Do you know what people say to us when we show them these notes? You probably do. They think it's too good to be true because if they were really this good, wouldn't they have heard about them before? The answer to that simply is no.
Wait a second, Fern. Are you telling me that these FPCMs that you offer pay a 6% fixed return for 1 year at a time with interest paid out monthly? So how safe is my principal then?
Great question, Mark. The principal, 100% of it, is paid back in full at the end of the 1 year term. We offer access into this fascinating niche, also called bridge loans, that we actually found as consumers ourselves. We, my husband, who is also my business partner, and I, we own these 1 year fixed rate notes with our own money and with family money as well. We did our due diligence, and then we bought them ourselves and tested them out. Once we were satisfied that they offered the safety we were looking for, both for ourselves and for our clients, we started offering them to our clients. They have been exceptionally well received, especially by our seniors who've been looking for reliable, predictable monthly income from a short-term instrument. They understand the security that comes from being in a first position on the property title and of dealing with a specialty mortgage company with a proven track record of making monthly payments on time, every time. I can tell you it has caught on like wildfire with our clients. Many of them own multiple FPCMs and ladder them the way people used to be able to ladder CDs and bonds. Think about it. A $100,000 FPCM note at 6% generates $6,000 a year in interest. That's $500 a month in interest. That's some nice extra income for many of the folks who are listening out there today. Add that to their Social Security and other income they may be getting, and you've got a pretty comfortable retirement. And you don't have to live and die by the stock market's performance. That's very nice. No long-term time commitment either, because again, it's only for 1 year at a time.
Okay, you've got me interested. Is there anything else our listeners should know about these FPCMs?
There are a few more things that would be helpful for people to know, Mark. There is a $25,000 minimum to participate in these notes. And while the yield starts at 6%, there can be opportunity for higher yields as well. When a client is a repeat buyer or commits larger dollar amounts, they can qualify for a higher rate. We have clients now who have in excess of $1 million in FPCMs, and they're enjoying a 7% annual yield. That's a really competitive rate in this low-yield environment for this safer alternative, again, to what most people are doing within their portfolios right now. And it rivals anything that we've seen anywhere. Of course, you can start with just $25,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000. It's whatever moves the needle for you. And it doesn't have to be in even increments of money either. People test the waters, and once they get comfortable with the process, we have many people jumping in with 2 feet, owning multiple FPCM 1 year notes at the same time, again, laddering them the way they used to be able to do with CDs or bonds. Again, Mark, no one is going to get rich here. We're not trying to hit a home run, just singles and doubles to keep us safe, to stay ahead of inflation, and to beat the banks. These are for people who want a simpler, safer, and more secured alternative to what they're doing now. Also, Mark, these notes provide a lot of flexibility because they can be titled individually, jointly, in trusts, and in IRAs. So now our listeners know that there are safer opportunities available to them, and they pay at least 6% for just 1 year.
This has all been very eye-opening, Fern. Is there anything else you'd like to add on this topic?
Not on the topic of FPCMs, Mark, or generating a current income stream, but let's shift gears for just a moment. If a client is more interested in, say, growth of their capital, and they're not trying to produce a current income stream, then we do have access to very compelling alternative asset opportunities for growth of capital as well. So many clients are literally shocked when we show them some of the opportunities that they can participate in. I guess what I'm saying, Mark, is that for either income or growth, we have opportunities that really need to be seen and evaluated by each listener on their own. People just really need to know what other opportunities are out there and available to them so that they can take advantage of the ones that will work best for them in their own situation.
Okay, so I think I'm getting the big picture here. First Financial Tax Group provides more than just safer retirement alternatives for income and growth. It's a lot about coordinating the whole picture, whatever the client needs, isn't it?
It is, Mark, exactly. If you coordinate your tax situation with your retirement income and growth plan and take care of the legal documents you will eventually need and do this as early in the planning process as possible, then it makes sense that you would have a better success in retirement. It's important to know, though, Mark, that we respect the relationships our clients may already have with their own accountants and attorneys, and that we don't require that our clients use our accountant or our attorney network. We offer the coordinated approach if the client wants to take advantage of it. However, many people do come to us for the sole purpose of improving the safety and yield within their portfolio. And if that's their goal, then that's what we do for them.
So let's talk more about retirement planning in general. There are a lot of misconceptions regarding retirement, don't you think?
I do, Mark.
So what do you feel are the biggest myths or misconceptions out there?
Well, I think there are several things to address here. The first is risk levels. People mistakenly believe that in this historically low interest rate economy we've been operating in for the past 8 years or so, since that Great Recession, that you have to take on more risk to get any kind of return on your money. And this is simply not true. We've addressed this a bit in our discussion about the FPCMs, but this is what traditional Wall Street wants you to believe. Just know that there are other opportunities out there for both growth and income. You just need the right people helping you to find them. Another misconception is that people already in retirement think it's too late for them to make any meaningful changes to what they're already doing. The fact is, it is never too late to improve upon what you're doing. Retirement is fluid. Things change and happen that we might not have been able to foresee when we were making our initial plans. We need to be able to adjust elements in our retirement plan to meet these changes as they occur and improve what we can in our portfolios. It is never too late to do that. And lastly, I just have to address Social Security here, Mark. Many advisors leave Social Security out of their clients' retirement plan, treating it like it's an independent issue, having little impact on their overall retirement lives. That simply is not the case. We guide our clients as to when and how to claim their Social Security benefits, using strategies and giving them claiming reports that they can actually take to their local Social Security office at the time of claiming so that no mistakes are made. Using a claiming strategy can possibly add hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Social Security income you bring into your household over a couple's lifetime, and that is not insignificant.
Very true. Fern, people seem fearful of digging in and starting their planning. What would you say is the most common fear people have with regards to planning for retirement?
As you can imagine, Mark, people are simply afraid of making mistakes. Many people just don't feel confident or informed enough to make successful financial decisions that they know will impact them throughout their retirement years. Do you know that people spend more time planning their vacations than they do planning for their own retirement? That is an absolute true fact, and that says a lot about people's psyche when it comes to money and retirement. People need to feel more empowered. For that reason, we teach conservative retirement income planning courses at Florida Atlantic University, a local university here in Boca Raton. We focus on the pitfalls others have encountered when planning for retirement and how to avoid making those same mistakes, as well as the variety of opportunities there are out there to take advantage of. We try to alleviate the fear of retirement planning by providing impartial information based on research rather than opinion. The feedback we've gotten from our students over the years has been tremendous. They feel more empowered to make confident decisions regarding their own retirement, as well as feeling a sense of relief that they've taken that first step in tackling the issue of preparing their own retirement plan.
That's important for sure. Can you share a lesson that you learned early on that still impacts the recommendations you make today?
Absolutely. I learned early on that losses are more devastating than gains are impactful during your retirement years. Unfortunately, many people have learned this lesson the hard way. Think about this. If in retirement your portfolio goes up 20%, most of us probably won't change the way we live our day-to-day lives. But if you lose 20% of your portfolio in retirement, you may need to go back to work or lower your standard of living to make sure that you don't outlive your retirement funds. That is seriously impactful and extremely difficult to recover from. Time is not on our side once we approach and reach our retirement years. We may not have the time to wait for markets to recover in order to regain what we lost. And the percentage of the gain needs to be higher than the percentage lost because the gain is on a smaller sum of money. Meaning that if you lose 20% in your portfolio, you need to gain 25% just to break even again. I saw this happen to a family friend early on in my career. The effect it had on their lives and, unfortunately, on their marriage was something I won't forget. Mark, there truly are easy, effective ways to protect and grow what you have and to keep this from happening to you. This is where we focus. This is our specialty, and this is what we're dedicated to.
For those listeners who'd like to find out more, learn, and perhaps connect with you, how would they do that?
Listeners can call us at 561-367-3618. They can also visit us on the web at www.fftaxgroup.us. On our website, we have a download button that they can click to receive a complimentary first position commercial mortgage information kit to find out how they can start earning 6% for just 1 year. Of course, they can also request this information over the phone, but I encourage our listeners to take advantage of this offer and explore their opportunities. It really can make all the difference in how you view your retirement.
Ferne, this has been terrific information. I want to thank you for taking the time and coming on the program with me today, and I wish you continued success for you and all of your clients.
It's been a pleasure, Mark. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm Mark Imperial, and this is the program spotlighting noteworthy professionals, experts, and business owners from around the world and in your town. If you know a great business or professional that we should feature on the program, I'd like to hear from you. You could nominate them by emailing me at radio@markimperial.com. Once again, that's radio@markimperial.com. In this next segment, our home stretch, I've got a special treat for you. If you're a business owner or professional, or if you aspire to be one, for over 7 years, I've been interviewing leading experts and business celebrities and sharing their secrets to success with you. From my first show, Entrepreneur's Edge, to Game Changers Radio, to Mad Rocket Business, all the way to Remarkable Radio and this program today, In this home stretch, I'm bringing you a flashback to one of my most popular episodes, covering how to attract clients magnetically using only the power of words and without costly branding. So enjoy this very special edition home stretch, and here we go.
Now, get the edge. Here are Mark and Tom.
Hey, welcome to the show. It's Mark Imperial, another power thinking hour here at Entrepreneur's Edge.
Mark, this is Tom Rebar, and it is time for all the capitalists and all of the entrepreneurs and the self-employed people and the professionals in private practice and all the sales and marketing pros to come out of the woodwork and put their feet up and join together.
That's right.
And learn for an hour.
That's right. So welcome back, everybody. And we've got a terrific show. We're recapping a fantastic week that we had here at Entrepreneur's Edge. We just had our Entrepreneur's Edge live event last Wednesday, and boy, it was a hoot. The party was jumping. I'm telling you, they almost had to kick us out of that hotel.
They did, and there's nothing like talking about advertising and copywriting that gets people out of their chairs, because once you start talking about that, people realize that even if you thought you knew everything there was to know about it, you realize there's more to learn and more to still learn.
Yeah, the place was absolutely on fire. We had Conrad Hall and Ken Schreiber join us in speaking on copywriting and writing the words that sell your business. What better way to get to the bullet points of that than to recap what we talked about at Wednesday's event?
Go for it.
And you know what? In fact, if you missed it, you really missed a hugely valuable opportunity to boost your response. Because I'm talking about, we talked about headlines and postcard and copy that got 4 to 5 times the response of another control. So that's a 400 to 500% increase by just changing the words on the paper. How many folks don't think about that?
A whole bunch.
So we started out, one of our guest speakers, Ken Schreiber, he was talking about lead generation and the minute differences about generating leads with your copy as opposed to like using sales conversion. Now, one of the key points and takeaways he talked about, he started out, check this out. The first thing he said when he got up on the stage is he said, "Who here wants a surefire way to get new customers or prospects without any marketing cost?" And all the hands went up, right?
Mine went up.
Yeah.
I was the first one.
Now, guess what? He says that was the first lesson in lead generation. You are trying to identify exactly with the person what is it that they want. So if you have the right market, the right list, and then you give them that question, who wants this solution? And you're talking directly at a person, and they raise their hand and identify. That is it. That's as simple as that. And then you make them an offer that they just can't refuse.
Because all you want is to find out who those people are who are willing to raise their hand.
Yeah, and you could adapt that into any business type that you can. Now look at this. Another key is speaking directly at that target person. If you get a list, if you're doing a mailing, a postcard mailing, and you know who that customer is you're looking for, you identify it and you speak directly at their problems. You have to identify, and we talked about this, I call it the hidden benefit, because you think about your customer and think of all the problems that they have in their lives, because what you are is you're a problem solver. That brings up another point. A lot of business owners, a lot of businesses out there, they make the mistake, and we had some folks talk about this in the room as well. I say, what is your ad about? What was the message you put in your marketing? And they said, well, a discount, a discount or percentage off. And the reality is that they're trying to sell their product directly. And we say that kind of hurts your response, because when you try to sell your product directly, the only people that are responding are those that are ready to buy like your widget or your thing right now.
At that immediate point in time.
So it's about transcending timing. So we're going to be back after this break and continue, because we've got a lot of nuggets that came out of that event on writing words that sell. BusinessEdgeRadio.com. Go to the website, get our free gift, and we'll be right back after this.
Stay with us.
Business owners and entrepreneurs. Once again, here's Mark and Tom.
Hey, welcome back to your Power Thinking Hour for entrepreneurs and business owners. It's Mark Imperial.
This is Tom Rebar. Hey, Mark, let's go back to that the story you were telling right before the break about the person who was going for the jugular and trying to make the big sale right out of the gate. Let's try to make sure we bring the loop fully closed there. What do you do to get around that?
Well, let's see. As I mentioned, a lot of business owners, they think, they're not, they're in the mindset of I got to sell my thing. So they're focused on how can I sell my thing? Let me present my product or my service and let me give a discount or a coupon. That's like the knee-jerk reaction to what they're offering.
And then when people don't buy, right away they think, my price is still too high, so they get into this headset of, now I got a further discount.
Yeah, they're focusing on the wrong thing, and it's because they get a low response rate. But our answer to that, what we know from testing, is that the low response rate is because you're not transcending timing. You're making an offer for people that are ready to buy right that minute. But then when somebody is in the buying cycle, but they're not just quite ready to buy yet, and maybe a month down the road, they forgot all about you. You're only picking up the immediate buyers. You have to find a way to transcend the timing, and we do that with lead generation.
And it has nothing to do with price.
That's right.
Get price out of your head that it's not that your price is too high.
That's often the last thing to even consider is the price. I mean, the example that I'm going to give you and for the listeners is we had a terrific home remodeling company in the audience and asked us how do we directly link what we're talking about here at the event to his type of business. I said, is there a business that feels like they don't know how to link this lead generation strategy to theirs? And then he raised his hand and he said, home remodeling. What do I do? And I said, what are you doing currently to get your business? He said, I did a mailing. What was the offer on the mailing? It was a discount of some sort. And we told him the same thing. You're selling a discount. You're only going to pick up the buyers ready to buy now. And then he said, well, what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is you want to find people that may not just be thinking about buying right now, but maybe they're already in their head. You know what? 6 months from now, a year from now, I know I'm going to have a move. How are you going to get those people to identify themselves so you can continue to stay in front of them? Well, we said, why don't you offer a report called, the 7 deadly traps and how to avoid them, how to save blah, blah, blah on your remodeling costs, how to get how to remodel your kitchen, your home or whatever, and save the maximum. 7 deadly traps, a report that is going to be useful to that prospect. That way, even if it's 6 months or a year from now that they're thinking about the move, they still want that free report. That little trick alone increases the response 4 or 5 times.
Easily. And you could tell that this fella, because I was sitting across the room from him, he had a big smile on his face as soon as you started to unveil that story, because you could tell right away he got it. Mm-hmm. And head kind of went back into oh, that makes sense right away to him. So
that's right.
He was a very smart person.
Yeah. So, back to the list of what Ken Schreiber was speaking about, he's, another nugget was speak directly at him. Who is it that you're mailing to and what is their direct problem? The next point is everyone's favorite radio station besides WIND is WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Exactly.
So that, literally the headline or the message that you put on your mailing pieces has to address directly at them because it has to pass that test. Conrad Hall mentioned this, the so what test. You read your headline, whatever you consider your headline, and run it through your own head and say, okay, I read something and so what? Is it going to make you say so what, or is it going to intrigue you to read further?
Well, in fact, he even suggests to do that for every one of your bullets. When you put the bullet there, just read it out loud and say, now, so what? What is that person going to answer if they read it and you say, so what, to give yourself a chance to substantiate that bullet in your head?
Yes, that's right.
Is it a worthy bullet?
Yep. And, I have a litmus test actually for you. Let's first of all, let's wrap up with what Conrad was talking about before we even go into the litmus test on headlines. But, Conrad has a great description for copywriting. He said it's the art of using words to create action. Now think about that. The art of using words to create action. How many folks really think of their advertising in that way? The most of the time I see people doing an advertisement, it's like the name of their company or their logo. How does that create any action?
One of the best testimonials for last night was I brought my assistant along to your summit. He is just beginning to think about the art of copywriting. And when we left, he said, that was one of the best meetings he's ever been to, and he got more notes in a short period of time about how to write copy than he ever thought he would by coming along last night.
It's incredible. And, a lot of the stuff that, many of our pros in Mastermind, for example, we take it for granted because we've been so immersed in this kind of marketing, but it's eye-opening for many. For example, one of the big keys that was huge for everyone in the room was when Ken Schreiber described, and remember the headline, who else here wants to know how to acquire new customers and prospects without any acquisition cost, right? Now, how do you do it without acquisition cost? Well, if you were at the summit, I don't have enough time in the next 4 minutes to tell you, but you can do, it was a brilliant strategy he had about liquidating your marketing costs. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be at Entrepreneur's Edge live events. And these are the kind of things that we talk about. So, this is probably the best time ever to give a plug for the next live event. Make sure you go to Business Edge Live or businessedgeradio.com, click on the live events tab, and you're going to find the next meeting in Madison, the next meeting in Green Bay, and the next meeting in Oak Brook. Hey, we've only got about a minute here, and I want to talk about one bullet. I have about 12 here.
Go ahead.
But let's talk about the headline, because what is the headline? The headline of your ad is the ad for your ad. Does that make sense? And what is the only job of the headline?
The only job of the headline is to shout it out and get somebody to be interested in taking the next step, which is to read what else is there.
Read the next line, absolutely. And it's the most valuable real estate on your ad or your postcard or your mailing. And what do most companies inadvertently waste in that space? What do they do in that space instead?
How many people put the name of their company or their logo up at the top of the ad or the top of their website, and then they wonder why nobody's reading it? It's because they never had a headline there.
Hey, in the wrap-up, I'm going to give my litmus test for great headlines for all the listeners. After the break, Tom Apicella from Think Spaces in Naperville, Illinois, will be joining us to give us his tips, tricks, and secrets for furnishing your office. We'll be right back. BusinessEdgeRadio.com.
We'll be here. Stay with us. BusinessEdgeRadio.com for all the events.
Hey, we're back. It's Mark Imperial.
And this is Tom Rebar. We are in the home stretch again. Mark, I can't believe another week has gone by so fast.
That's right. Hey, we're back here with Tom Apicella from Think Spaces in Naperville, Illinois. Hey, Tom, I wanted to ask you, you just recently joined our mastermind group here at Entrepreneur's Edge. Can you tell me what drew you to the group and what you're getting out of it so far?
Well, what drew me to the mastermind group is, I want to have other like-minded entrepreneurs and people that I can basically bounce ideas off of, talk about my business to help expand it. Because as a lot of people know, there's a lot of businesses in one business that you can extrapolate from. So just having that, and then it's also, for accountability when you come up with new strategies and ideas, there's some accountability because they're going to ask you, well, what did you do with what you said you were going to do with last month?
Yeah.
And, action is the way to make things happen in business.
That's terrific. And now for the folks listening, whether they're a property manager or a business owner looking to move or improve their spaces, how can they get a hold of you for your information?
You can go to thinkspaces.net and you can fill out one of our interior design contact forms, or there's a phone number on there that you can call, 630-324-4598.
Tom, it was terrific having you on the show. Thank you for coming out today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the show.
Terrific. Thank you. Tom, we're on the home stretch now.
We are. I can't believe it.
Now, I promised a litmus test for people to test whether their headlines are any good.
So give them.
All right, here it is. Now, this is sort of like the classified test, if you think of like a classified ad. And what are the classified ads all about? It's usually a small, tiny little ad, right?
Very small.
With just, you don't have enough room to put anything but a blurb and a call to action, a CTA, like a phone number, right?
That's exactly right.
So what you do is you take whatever you think is your headline, and then you neuter out everything else and just put your phone number or whatever your response mechanism is under it. And if the two make sense and entice you to move forward, like let me give you an example. What do most people use as their headline that's wrong? And we talk about this a lot. The company name, right?
Name and maybe a logo.
So let's look at the litmus test. A to Z painting. phone number. Now, is that entice you to take any action?
So who'd call with A to Z painting and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
That's right. There's no words that cause action. Now, what if the headline, let me think just off of the top of my head here. Let's use an example for a bowling alley, okay? Something weird. Now, what if the headline said how to bowl a 300 every time and then a phone number? Now, that causes you a little bit more enticement to call that number.
Sure
So
would.
there's a difference between that's the litmus test. Take your headline and put just the headline and the phone number or response mechanism. And is that enough to make somebody take some action? That's the litmus test.
Great test.
So that makes every word count.
Hopefully nobody just puts that in an ad, a headline and a phone number. It'd be nice to have a little more copy than that. But I understand what the litmus test is.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what we talked about. And it's about all the time we had to talk about today was headlines, but It's the most important piece. What else do we know about headlines? Headlines are the most important part of the ad. You remember at the event, I gave you 3 headlines that were tested. And I'll tell you what, let's do the test right now. One of the headlines got 5 times the response of the other 2. Was it headline A, I've never been able to get a good portrait of my child until now? Or B, finally a children's portrait worth more than the paper it's printed on? Or C, the best children's portrait at the right price guaranteed? We did this test. People raised their hand. The room was about split. But the answer is B. And again, we said, what's the reason why? Everyone gave reasons that they thought why B won. But the truth is, it doesn't matter. You just have to test.
And everybody's afraid to test.
And guess what? They didn't change any other part of the ad.
Customer.
Just the headline.
Hey, go out to businessedgeradio.com. We have Wayne Brightbath coming this next month in March up in Green Bay and Madison. He's going to talk about business use of LinkedIn. Unbelievable ideas. So come and see us.
See you later. Hey, it's Mark Imperial. I hope you enjoyed those highlights. Again, if you know a professional or business that we should feature on the show, you could nominate them by emailing me at radio@markimperial.com. One more time, that's radio@markimperial.com. Until next time, this is Mark Imperial. Make it a remarkable week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.